Thank you for joining us.
Namaste.
Today, just have a belt, and I've got some ideas with, using it for the arms, um, for stabilizing the arms. But, I'll see where we go with it, and we'll see how it shapes up. So, thank you for coming, and let's begin. So, you want to make the belt so there's a loop for having your arms as parallel as you can. And there is a chip on your elbow here that, if it's all possible, see if you can put the belt and locate it right there. Why don't we just start here where have the knees bent, and we'll roll down slowly here just to get a nice release in the back, a little bit of abdominals. And then the arms will just come straight up. And then you can kind of lift the shoulders off the floor and then drop them back down. So the belt is to try to help you with symmetry today, even though we're asymmetrical beings. But we're just going to lift the hands up and then just drop the shoulders down. And maybe that'll create more space and really flatten those shoulder blades down into them. And see if you can just hold here for a few breaths to let the shoulder blades settle into them. And then you're going to bring the arms overhead, but only as far as it works for you. So if you need to stay here, that's okay. If you need to go here, that's okay. If you want more intensity and you can go towards the floor, then you really should feel that kind of rebounding into the belt, like the belt. And then just check into your shoulders to make sure that you're not elevating them to the ears, that you're really still have them on the floor. And then we'll do a bit of abdominals. Inhale, straighten the legs, exhale, down. And of course, anytime if you're a little bit fatigued, you can bring the arms back here or even lower here just to have a little rest if there's any challenge in the shoulder. So one of the keys for you in your own practice is to know what your edge is, where you can go to comfortably, but also still challenge yourself. And I think that's a lifelong process, because there are always times we might overdo it and might be sore the next day. So it's just a learning process about what your body is capable of doing and how long it's capable of doing whatever you're doing. So, and we can build up stamina, we can build up strength, we can build up balance, no matter what your age is. And then do two more like this. And then just release the arms down. And what you can do is just put the palms on your thighs here. That'll give you a little bit of a rest. And you can actually kind of, why not? Go ahead. Windshield wiper the legs, because when you've got your hands on the thighs and you follow that, you get a nice massage into the back. And if you just allow the back of your head on the floor, you can get a little stretch through the neck, shoulder blades. And then build up a little momentum so that you can then just roll to your side and come up to all fours. And the belt is nice for that here. because, again, and you have to play with the right tightness of the belt as well. And you don't want to be using a stretchy, resistance band. The resistance bands are useful, but when we're trying to give feedback into the body of stability, that's where the belt comes in handy. So you've got the belt, and if you can have the chip of the elbow press in, it's gonna give you something to press into with your hands into the floor, and the hands can connect into the shoulder blades. So when we do a little bit of cat and cow, or cat and dog tilt is how I like to call it. In fact, Mr. Cat Gandalf decided, since I had to kick him out of his spot, just to lay next to me here today. You're just gonna be Mr. Yoga Cat, are you? And perhaps by using the belt, you get more stretch somewhere in the shoulders, maybe not, but it's certainly worth an exploration to see what happens. And then bring the spine to neutral, and you got big toes together, knees wide. You might want to walk the hands a little forward, and then lengthen the sit bones to the heels, so you have a little bit of spring in those shins, so you're not completely dropping down. And then from here, you can tuck your toes under and do a downward dog. Now, sometimes what I like about this belt here is it sort of gives me a resting spot for my head. And then go back down and big toes together, knees wide. And I'm feeling in my arms that I want to just tighten my belt for my next downward dog. And it may, not be perfect, and it may need adjusting in different positions. So, just take your time to make it right for you. So we're in big toes together, knees wide. And then we'll come back up again and tuck the toes under and go into downward facing dog. Start to walk the feet and the hands towards each other. You can keep a little bend in the knees. You can have a little shake through the head and the neck, a yes and no. And if you're wanting stability, you could bring the hands to the legs as you walk up. Or, there's so many ways we can come up from here. Or you can really use the arms with straight legs to come up with arms overhead. And then just bring the hands down. It's always a little awkward with the belt. It does have this constraining thing. And this is kind of a big belt for, it's a long belt because I love to use it for other poses and legs. But some yoga teachers have really short belts, long belts, belts of every size and shape. So if you can have your arms just where they are here, but you can also soften them, just to give it a little rest. And I'm gonna do a little sequence here and, just see how you go with it. And so you're gonna inhale the arm overhead, and then see if you can raise up onto your toes. And then come back down onto your feet and arms down. So we'll keep adding something to the pose. Inhale the arms overhead. Raise up onto the balls of the feet. Now, can you stay here and just bend the knees? That might be challenging. Just do a little bit of it, or if you can go a little deeper, you really have to work onto the balls of the feet. Now see if you can place the heels down, and then just bring the arms in front of you, and then just come back into Tadasana. It does get the heart going, doesn't it? Because we're also going to play with another way to use the arms in this sequence. We're going to reverse the sequence and see how you go with that. So just bring the arms parallel in front. Now come into chair pose or Utkatasana, powerful pose. Then inhale, come up onto the balls of the feet. Find the balance first. Then you can raise your arms overhead. Then straighten the legs. Bring the heels down. Stay here for a few breaths. Bring the arms down. So I've been playing with this sequence a little, like the last week or so. And I feel how it really raises my heart, but I don't know, it's just a fun way to play with balance. So the next round, we're going to shift the arms so that the palms, right now, with the arms down, the palms are facing towards my thighs, but they'll face front when we go up. So first, you'll inhale the arms up, palms are facing front. Then raise on the toes. We'll do like we did last time, and then come back down to the heels. And exhale the arms down. Then inhale the arms up. Raise up on the toes. You can bend the knees, great. Bring the arms in front of you. Bring the heels down. Come back into standing. Yep, I definitely feel my heart going for that one. And then inhale the arms in front of you. Coming down into chair Utkatasana. Raising the heels up. Inhale the arms overhead. Extending the legs. Raising the heels down, arms overhead. And then the arms down. Woo! Getting a little of that heat going. So now we're going to move on to some other standing poses. So if you need to give yourself a little shake out, and you know, it's kind of nice with the belt on to swing the arms a little bit, especially if you've got stuff going on in the shoulders. We'll use the belt towards the end of class to, you know, give a little bit more stretch through the shoulders. So now we're going to come up to the front of the mat. We'll do some standing poses using the belt. So we'll do some individually, and then I'm going to put together a little sequence. So I know it's called vinyasa, but vinyasa means how movement connects to breath. We're just going to go through some first. So you can keep the palms where they are for the first one. Lift the hands overhead so the palms are facing forward. Now, take the right leg long behind you, and then come into Warrior One pose. There's something nice about the belt that I feel like I'm getting a stretch in my armpits. You can always keep the arms more diagonally forward if it's too much to bring the hands here or arms here. And then really press through that back heel so that you're straightening the back leg. And then bring the back foot in and the arms down. A couple of breaths here. Then inhale the arms up. Extend that Left leg long behind you. Really extend through that heel. Couple of breaths. Then bring that leg forward. Arms down. And you probably are feeling that this kind of yoga starts to bring that heart rate up. And then inhale the arms up. And this time we're going to take the left leg or right leg back and the heel down. And you're going to turn the body and then go into this version of Warrior Two, where the arms are just straight up. And then bring that back leg in, and the arms down. Couple of breaths there. And then inhale the arms up. Take the left leg long behind you. Turning the body, coming into this variation of Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. And then bring the back leg in, both legs parallel, and foot down. I'm going to need to back up for the next pose. So, just have a couple of breaths in Tadasana. And then inhale the arms overhead. And then just turn. Yeah, I should have enough room. So you're going to slowly bring the arms forward and lift the left leg up into Warrior 3, Virabhadrasana 3. And then to come out, the arms come up to bring the foot back. And then you can bring the arms down. A couple of breaths here. And then inhale the arms up. Starting to come forward, lifting the back leg up. Bringing that leg through, arms up. Arms down. I'm going to step a few steps front. Now we're going to try to put this together. And you have the choice of the hands here, or you can turn the hands to face each other. And just see if that makes a difference. So we're going to start putting, I guess it's a variation of Virabhadrasana of all the warrior poses. So we'll bring the arms up for Warrior 1. Take the right foot long behind you into Warrior 1. Now remember, you can always have little breaks, so bring the arms out here. If it gets too much, overhead. A couple of breaths here. Then straighten the leg, pivot the back foot, turn the body, and go into this version of Warrior 2. And then turn back around and come back into Warrior 1. Because for Warrior 1, it's easier than to fly into Warrior 3. And then coming back to Warrior 1 and bringing the back foot in and the arms down. So we could think of Warrior 1 as the stability pose that allows us to access Warrior 2 and Warrior 3. So a couple of breaths here in Tadasana, because warrior poses do really get the blood flowing, get everything moving. And you can choose how you want your hands. I'm bringing my hands parallel, so I'm going to inhale the arms up first. Extend that left leg long behind me into warrior one. And then I'm going to straighten the front leg, pivot that back foot behind, and come into this version of warrior two. And then I'm going to straighten that leg again, pivot around, come back into warrior one. Then I'm going to lean forward to come into warrior three. Not wanting to knock my things down. And then back into warrior one and bringing that foot forward. So maybe I can step back a little bit and get all three of those poses. So take a few breaths here. Just find Tadasana. Slow down the little heart rate a little bit. And we'll just go through that one more time. You can decide to have the hands face each other. Or, gosh, you can do this variation with the arms, palms facing out. Hadn't even thought about that variation. But on the last one, I'm going to play with that variation, but you can go back to palms facing the thighs and then face forward. When you come up, you bring the palms facing each other, or you can pivot them out. So I'll have the thumbs in front when I lift up. So come into your version with the arms, warrior one. Oops, got to go into warrior one. Right leg back. Yeah, so you're coming into arms overhead pose first. And then warrior one. And straighten the front leg, inch the back, the legs, and come into warrior two. And then pivot back around by straightening the front leg into warrior one, and then coming forward into warrior three, back into warrior one, bringing the back leg in and arms down. Have a couple of breaths here. It's very strong work. And whatever your hand position you did, it doesn't matter if you do a different one on the second side. We do try to be as even as possible, but whatever works, okay? So inhale the arms up. I'm going to do the hands turned out this time. Exhale, bring that back leg long behind you into warrior one pose. Straighten the front leg, pivot the back foot, maybe inch the foot forward into warrior two. And then extend the front leg, turn back, come into warrior one, and fly forward into warrior three. Back into warrior one. Back foot forward, arms down. Whew. You probably feel pretty worn out there. So take the belt off and then come down to sitting, and I didn't really bring anything out to sit on, but if it's too hard for you to sit in Virajasana, and it's always better to have a little extra cross, you can always sit in simple cross legs. So whatever works for you. We'll just do a few things with the belt for stretching the shoulders. So this time, if you have a long enough belt, you want it as wide as you can to try to inhale the arms up and then keep them straight while you circumvent the whole joint, up and down. Just do a couple of these because we've had a lot of arms up, but then that's a great stretch. And then do one more like this. Inhale up and bring it down. Inhale up. And then, I don't know how much space you need, but we'll take the belt up as we bend the arm behind us, and then you take the opposite hand behind to try to find the belt, and then you can pull it a little bit away from the body. So my bottom wrist, back of my wrist, is into trying to get between my shoulder blades. But then it's really nice because you can do a little pull with the lower arm, and then you can pull the upper arm. And then release that side. And again, you'll start with the other side, with bringing the arm up, bending it down so the belt comes behind you, and then bringing the other hand in to find and grab the belt, and then you can play with pulling it lower to stretch the front of the arm, and pulling it up to stretch the opposite arm. That. Maybe just take the belt and really stretch out to the side. Put one hand down. Really stretch through the belt. Press the hand. Bit of a side stretch. And the other side, drop the hand down. Make it a little tighter, a little bit more in that side stretch. And then release that. And then just come back to your back and put the belt around your balls of your feet. And we'll get a nice stretch in the backs of the hamstrings, and maybe you'll get some in the lower back. So you want to start where you're pretty comfortable. See if you can find the place where you can really straighten behind the knees, or you know, if it's straightening, you want to be able to lift the thighs and just slowly open the backs of the knees like they're eyeballs. You don't want to hyperextend. You want to feel that, like if you have a tendency to hyperextend, you can put the belt on the heels. That gives a different sensation than the balls of the feet. And then you can start to pull the shins closer to your face. And just have a few breaths there. You can walk your hands up the belt. Just try to keep the legs straight. slowly bend the knees in. Just notice how your arms and shoulders are. You may need to, do another stretch. You can hug the elbows in front of you, hands on your shoulder blades. You need to release something there. Maybe a little neck stretch. Or if you're lying down, you can just kind of slowly let gravity move the head a little bit. If you're laying on the floor too, you may want to interlock the fingers behind the head. Place the thumbs right at the base of the skull and just give a little tug. Give some length in the neck. And then you can release the arms next to your side. You can go into straight Shavasana, or if you've got a nice place where you put feet up the wall, it's nice to be elevated under your sacrum, but if you don't have anything nearby, you can still put your feet on the chair or feet up the wall. So as you settle into the pose, and then let the breath become soft. See if you can imagine the breath like you're it's wrinkly, I guess not too many people actually iron their clothes anymore, but we can imagine if there's a little bit of wrinkles and we want to just iron out those wrinkles with each inhale and exhale. You really want to work or settle into the effects of gravity in its finest hour. Allowing the body to soften into the ground. Give over as much weight as you can to gravity. Perhaps you can feel your whole lower back, buttocks area really widening and softening into the floor. Behind your waist, the lower part of the rib cage softening and widening to the floor. Middle of the rib cage widening out from the spine, softening into the floor. And then the upper part of the rib cage between the shoulder blades, widening out and softening into the floor. And then the face really melts and softens back to the ears and the back of the head. slowly begin to reawaken your body, finding a little bit of movement into your fingers, your toes, your hands and feet. You can really give yourself a nice big stretch, rolling to your side, and then coming up to sitting. And namaste, and have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching and joining us. Namaste.